Hello, this is Ben119 and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Pikmin 3 Deluxe walkthrough. So this is a 100% walkthrough and we're going to be playing on normal mode. For this first cutscene I'm going to be completely quiet so you can watch it in peace. Enjoy.
Galactic date 20XX. At the far reaches of space lies a planet on the brink of ruin. The planet's name? Kopai. Due to a booming population, booming appetites, and a basic lack of planning, Kopai's inhabitants have all but exhausted their food supply. Their only hope is to find another planet with edible matter. Accordingly, they send unmanned scout vessels called Sparrows out into space. To their dismay, the search is proving fruitless. Just as they're about to give up, the final vessel reports back with news of a miraculous discovery. They mobilize to investigate the planet, which they name PNF 404. Kopai's last hope rests on 3 intrepid explorers. At last, the explorers' 279,000 light-year voyage nears its end. But as they initiate the landing sequence, something goes horribly wrong.
Right, so there we go, we've watched the first cutscene. I hope you enjoyed the first cutscene, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I'm going to structure this Let's Play. So whenever there's text on the screen, or whenever I pick up a data file, I'm not going to read out the text, but I will make sure that you have enough time to read it. I won't just skip through any cutscenes. I'll make sure that you have time to read all the text if you want to read it. If you don't want to read it, that's fine, but if you want to read it, that's fine as well. You can do what you want, really. So I'll talk a little bit about the game. Now, for people who have never seen Pikmin, Pikmin is a very strange game. You find these little creatures and you have to walk around with them, throw them on things. They basically work with you. It's a really cool game. I presume you've heard of Pikmin if you're watching this, but if you've never heard of Pikmin, then yeah. This is basically what Pikmin is. It's Pikmin 3 Deluxe. It's the most recent Pikmin game. Pikmin 3 came out on the Wii U in 2013. And this is basically a remaster of Pikmin 3. But the graphics are better, there's more content, the controls are better, everything is better basically. And yeah, it's just teaching us how to move. And we are in a snowy environment, so we crash landed on PNF 404 as you've seen from this first cutscene, and we have no idea where we are, and all that we know of is that we can walk forward, and there are these little creatures that are really cute, and they're all different colours, and they all do different things, but we don't know that yet. I'll try not to give anything away. I will talk about the gameplay obviously, and I'll talk about what Pikmin can do before we get to see those things, but I won't mention any bosses or any plot twists later on. I'll just talk about what's happening at the moment. So there's a load of Pikmin there, they're really cute and they're really silly, and they're coming towards me for some reason, even though I didn't even whistle them. So basically you whistle them with B, you throw them with A, you can charge, you can lock onto things, and they basically just do jobs. They can carry things. Later on you'll see there's an onion, which is where you can make more Pikmin, and when you carry things to the onion it makes more Pikmin, but you need Pikmin to make Pikmin basically. And with the whistle, it whistles any that are not doing anything, because when you throw a Pikmin and there's nothing nearby, it just stays still, so you have to whistle that Pikmin for it to come back to you. Unless you throw a Pikmin at an object that can be picked up, then it will try to do that. Or if there's any other tasks to do, like bridge pieces or walls, then they will do that instead. Pikmin are really strange. I imagine this game was really hard to code, especially with all these new features, with Pikmin coming back to you when they've broken down a wall, or when Pikmin come back to you once they finish the bridge piece pile. I'm spoiling a little bit about what things are like bridge piece piles, but oh well. So we've got 30 yellow Pikmin, and we're gonna head across this bridge here. I don't know why, but I really love this bit here in the game. I guess you could call it this part of the map. It's just really peaceful, and you can't change the camera for some reason in that room. It's really strange. But here we go, our first enemies. I always forget what these enemies are called. I really should have looked in the Pikmipedia beforehand. But never mind. They're funny little creatures, to say the least. And we've got another cutscene here. And something bad has just happened to Charlie. We'll get to that later. But now we're going to be going to Alf's crash site. So all three of the captains, as you saw in the first cutscene, they all landed in different places on the planet. So we'll get to see their perspectives with dealing with the planet, I guess. And what they do. So here we go, got another cutscene. As you can see, the ship they were in has crashed. It's extremely lucky how it's crashed so close. Like, imagine if it crashed in a completely different area that we haven't accessed yet. I don't know what they'd do to survive. They probably wouldn't survive, to be honest. But oh well, they're very, very lucky to be alive. All three of them are alive, and they all crashed in different places. Like, wow. And there are several different types of Pikmin. I might as well just tell you what colours they are now, because there's no way I'll keep it a secret for the rest of the Let's Play. So, in the main story, there are red Pikmin, which are resistant to fire, and they do more attack damage than the average Pikmin. There's rock Pikmin, and rock Pikmin can basically break through crystal, they can kill crystal enemies, they have a different method of attacking, they can break through crystal gates, they don't get crushed completely, they just get stuck in the ground. And it's really cool looking. Yellow Pikmin are really, really overpowered. They can be thrown the highest, they can dig the fastest, they're electric resistant. They're just really talented Pikmin. Yellows are really helpful for certain puzzles where you can throw them high up. Then you got winged Pikmin, which fly slightly above the ground. They can fly above water. They can attack flying enemies. Well, any Pikmin can attack flying enemies, but they can directly swarm onto flying enemies. And winged Pikmin can pull things out of the ground. They have a few other things that they can do, but that's pretty much what they can do. And finally, you got blue Pikmin. Now, blue Pikmin can go in water. Now, every other kind of Pikmin cannot survive in water, they will drown. But blue Pikmin can survive in water, which is a major thing for this game. Because there is quite a bit of water, and there are quite a few things to do in the water, but we'll only gain access to that later, because blue Pikmin are the final colour of Pikmin we find. Now, blue Pikmin also get killed the quickest. If you're fighting with a load of Pikmin, the blue Pikmin will be the most likely to get eaten for some reason. It's really silly, but that's the sad truth about it. They're gonna die the quickest. However, there are two other types of Pikmin, but these other two colours don't appear in the story mode. There's purple Pikmin and there's white Pikmin. Now, both of those colour Pikmin are in Pikmin 2 in the main story, but they're not in the main story in this game, they're just in missions. But purples can carry 10 times their weight, so if they're carrying something that weighs 10, you only need one purple to carry it, for example. And white Pikmin, in Pikmin 2 they used to be poison resistant, but there's no poison obstacles in this game, so instead they are really fast. They carry everything really fast. They're the fastest type of Pikmin. I think when they're flowered up they actually run faster than the captains. And if an enemy eats a white Pikmin, they get poisoned by it. And depending on how many white Pikmin they eat, they can die from it. So do bear that in mind. You may need to sacrifice white Pikmin in mission mode if you cannot kill an enemy. And if you've been watching this gameplay, you will have noticed that I will have found the red onion, and I will have built this bridge over here. And we are going back to the copad, so this is a really cool device that lets you look at the map, and it has access to lots of different features, but we'll unlock those features later on in the game. So there we go, got some more text. And basically all we have to do here is scroll to where the Drake has landed. On the Wii U version, you would use the Wii U gamepad as the co-pad. On the Nintendo Switch, it doesn't work that way, because I'm playing on TV mode. Even if you play on the detached mode, you still have to press a separate button to get to the gamepad. It's really strange, but it's pretty cool, I guess. And now we're going to do our first instance of growing Pikmin, so get used to this. We're going to be growing lots of Pikmin in this game. We'll need about 100 of each colour if we're going to complete the game. So we're going to get these pellets. So the way pellets work, I mentioned it before, but the basics of pellets is you can make more Pikmin. I'll tell you about it in a minute, but first we're going to go under this bridge and we're going to get out the co-pad. So the co-pad is basically a camera, and there are hidden cave drawings in this game. There's 15 in total, 3 in each level, and this is the first one here. Now the other ones in the game, I'm not going, even if I go past them earlier on in the game, I'm not going to show them off. But later on in the game, when I'm doing my last Pikmin day in each area, I'll make sure to show them off before ending the day. Or if there's some that I go past and I'm only going there once, I may show it off. But yeah, that's a cool Easter egg. There's actually an achievement for getting all 15, so if you want to get all the achievements, you'll have to get all the cave drawings as well. I like how it explains that it's a red Pikmin now. We've basically just spent loads of time with the Pikmin building a bridge and carrying pellets, and now it's just telling us that it's a red Pikmin. It's quite obvious, isn't it, that it's red. But never mind. Back on the topic of pellets. So, there's 1 pellet, 5 pellets, and 10 pellets. In Pikmin 1, and maybe in Pikmin 2, I think, there's 20 pellets. But basically, with pellets, with 1 pellet, if you carry a red pellet with a red Pikmin, it will make 2, not 1, even though it says 1 on it. However, if you carry the pellet, say if it's a blue pellet, but you carry it with a red still, it'll only make 1, for example, so it's quite important that you get the colours right. But with 5 pellets, it doesn't make 10 if you carry it with the right colour, it only makes 5. But if you carry it with the wrong colour, I think it only makes 3 or 2. And same with a 10 pellet, it will make 10 if it's right and 5 if it's wrong. So you'll still get Pikmin if you get the wrong colour, it's just that if you want to get more out of the pellets, then you'll have to carry them back with the right colours. It's pretty cool, there's lots of different things that make this game amazing. And one of my favourite things in this game is multitasking. So if you've never played this game before, later on we'll be able to unlock more captains to play as. Spoiler alert, the captains that we get to play as are the ones that we saw in the opening cutscene. We're playing as one of them right now, but eventually we will all get back together. And one of the main features in this game is that you're able to switch between captains in the middle of the map. So I could be on one side of the map doing something with Pikmin, and my captain could be on the other side of the map doing stuff with Pikmin. And we could do that both at the same time, without having to travel all the way across. And it makes this game really fun. One, because you can do multiple things at once, and it's just really cool. It adds loads of replay value to the game because of how open the maps are once you get all the colours. And 2, I am really interested in speedrunning this game. And I've actually made a tutorial for the Wii U version, and speedrunning this game is obviously a lot of fun because of all the different captains you can play as, and the fact that you have to route the game in a way that it works with the amount of colours you'll have, and it's just really fun. So if you are interested in speedrunning, I'd highly recommend checking out Pikmin 3 Deluxe, because it's a really cool speed game. Definitely check out the Pikmin series. But back on the topic of just the game, I pushed a box that needs 20 Pikmin. There are boxes in this game that you can push. I think it's like a little Easter egg to Pikmin 1, because that's one of the first things you do in that game, push a box. And they're just blocking things. And if you obviously need the amount it says on the box to push it, it's quite basic. This first day is very basic. It's basically just a tutorial teaching you what to do and what Pikmin are capable of. Kind of the basics of what they can do, and this is our first instance of a wall. And there are loads of different types of walls. So there are regular walls, which are just like sandgate walls like this one, and they can be knocked down when Pikmin are just next to the wall hitting it. There's crystal gates, which you need rock Pikmin to break them with. Stone gates, which you need bomb rocks to break. Electric gates, where you need yellow Pikmin to break. And finally there's bamboo gates, and you need winged Pikmin to lift up the bamboo gates, but when you whistle off the winged Pikmin, the gate falls back down, so you have to keep the Pikmin on it until you are finished in that area. So that's a pretty cool feature. And we've just got back to the SS Drake. That's nice. What else to mention about this game? This game, it's not a very long game. If you don't know what you're doing, it's a long game, but if you know what you're doing, it's a fairly short game. Each episode will probably be about 20 minutes, and there's probably going to be about 15 episodes, so it'll be a few hours of content that you'll get to enjoy if you enjoyed this episode. And if you're playing the game and there are any fruits that you're unsure of on how to get, or any cave drawings or any data files that you missed, don't worry, I'll be getting all of them in this series. And obviously if you watch all the episodes, you'll know where everything is. So one of the main things in this game is fruit. And fruit makes sure that you can survive. Because basically you can only survive for a certain amount of time, and you only have, I think, 2 days worth of juice after you drink this first one. So you need to get fruit to survive. Plus they're a collectible in this game. It's like one of the main collectibles. And when you get the fruit, you make it into juice, and then you can use that to survive. It's a really cool feature, but my one problem with it is that there's so much fruit, which is not a problem, but the fact that you get so much juice from it, and it makes this game really easy because of the amount of time you have to survive. But oh well, it's a really fun game. I don't mind that at all. To be fair, if there was less fruit in the game, it'd be bad because there'd be less stuff to collect, be less puzzles. And every day, other than this first day, has a thing called a day limit, and I'll talk about that in day 2 when we get to that. But day 1, this first day, is very different to every other day. It's basically just a tutorial teaching you about the game and what to expect. And here we are, that was the first juice we drank. We only have 2 left. But we'll get some more fruit tomorrow, so it'll be okay. Now if you are interested in this game, but you don't have enough money to buy it, or that you want to know that it's a good game before you buy it, then play the demo version. The demo version is completely free, and you get like an hour's worth of content out of it. So if you play it and it's really not your thing, then you don't have to buy it. But if you play it and you really enjoy it, then I would highly recommend buying it, because it is an amazing game and it's got an amazing community. And sadly that is the end of the first episode. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe if you're new around here. I'll be releasing day 2 shortly, and I just hope that you have a wonderful life after watching this. And thank you and goodbye.